Years ago, a 7-year-old girl was rushed to the hospital. Sheer wickedness, brutality by a caregiver she was entrusted into. How do we trust these people enough? You leave your child in the care of a relative just for you to be called from the office to the hospital. And when you come, your daughter's eyes are being plugged out. Traumatic. 23 years later, I'm standing right here in Mary's house. And that is Mary coming down the stairs. Look at you flying. Mary, how you doing?
Oh, fine, thank you.
Did you see her flying down the stairs? Look, I won't fly down the stairs that way with my 2 eyes. Mary, I'm sure you miss childhood adventures, right?
I'm telling you. I mean, the energy is still locked up in my bones.
Everybody can imagine.
Sees it every time.
So how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank
well
you.
Done.
You're so
Good
welcome.
to see you. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you for letting us
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you. And so the program is Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority. Mary is going to tell you her story. I'm sure you're waiting. Mary?
Yep.
And you're ready to?
I am ready to tell it.
Okay. My name is Dushima Pius Ikirave, and my guest is
Mary Musa.
Don't go away, we will be back very shortly.
Right.
This is Against All Odds.
When I heard a bit of your story, I was like, how? Because nobody has a reason to do that. Talk to us. How did you find yourself in the blind world?
Okay, thank you. It started almost 23 years ago now. And I was about 7 years then. When I was attending my elementary school was St. Mary's Private School at the time on the island in Lagos. You know, we were living on the island in Lagos. And then just before this incident, we had moved to the mainland. And whilst we were on the mainland, usually whenever my mom was also working on the island, so whenever she was going to work in the morning, she would take me with her and then drop me off at school, or the school bus would come and get me from her office. But this time around, because of course I was already on holiday, there was no need for all of that. And, you know, I was a handful as a child, really. And my mom wasn't ready to juggle between taking care of me and doing her work. So she just left me in bed and went to work that day. And little did she know that she would be returning to meet a different Mary, a different daughter. When she left, that house, you know, was comprised of me, my mom, my uncle, and my grandma. But this time, my uncle and my mother had gone to work on the island, so it was just left with me. This is my aunt who was supposed to be taking care of me and my grandma. And then when they left, you know, I was still sleeping. All I remember really was the door of my mother's room thrusting open, you know, so violently. And there she stood, you know, looking so fierce. I was petrified as a child. I didn't understand. I didn't even know what to process. I was just waking up also, remember. So she told me to leave there, and it was a roller coaster around the house. You know, go here, go to your grandma's room, then go to your uncle's room, then go here, then go there. Eventually, I landed in my uncle's room, to cut the long story short. And then she said she was coming, she left me there. And I heard sounds, you know, like someone was suffocating and kind of screaming for help. So I wanted to go there to check, you know, what was going on with my grandma. And then I saw that her hand was on her chest. And of course, that would terrify any 7-year-old. So I let out a shout, and she came at me. It was like that just fueled her anger. She came at me, she charged at me, and then took me into my uncle's room and locked the door. So I was in there until she was done with whatever was going on out. And then she came back in to meet me. When she came in, you know, she started pacing around my uncle's room looking for something. As a child, of course, I was apprehensive, but I didn't know how to pacify this very angry woman. So I asked her, you know, what she was looking for. She told me she was looking for a knife. So I of course, helped her. And because we were in my uncle's room, my uncle happened to be a very health-conscious person who would normally take, you know, just fruits whenever he came back from work. So because of that, he almost permanently had this table fruit knife, you know, on his table. And I remember it was blue, the color, the color of the knife was blue. So we went there. I mean, both of us were standing by the table. And I saw the knife, and I want to tell her that this is the knife. I remember opening my mouth to say, but I couldn't voice it out. So I couldn't say nothing. So while I was standing there and she was standing there and she was looking at me and I was looking at her and looking at the table, she didn't see the knife on the table, and that just made her really angry. You know, she probably thought I was trying to mess with her. And then she said, okay, if she doesn't get a knife, she's going to deal with me with her hands. But I still couldn't process that, you know, how could I have thought it was going to be something this grave, you know? And then she took me by my hair, you know, threw me up the ceiling, like held me up the ceiling. She was standing on my uncle's bed, dropped me to the floor, slammed my head severally on the burglary. I was bloodshot. After, I mean, this was a whole drama going on, you know. I'm just trying to summarize it. But after a while, she now put me in between her legs, you know, the position when you want to make a child's hair,
Yes.
while she was sitting on the bed. And then while she did that, she started dipping her fingers in my eyes until both eyes, you know, just popped out of their sockets, suspended by maybe a nerve or a thread or something, just dangling down my two cheeks. And, you know, she left me in my pool of blood and left the house. And people would later see her and, you know, suspected something was going on. And they came to the house, they knocked. I heard them, but because I was dying, I was losing blood, I couldn't really do nothing. I was hoping that my grandma would hear. I didn't know that my grandma had been hypnotized into a very deep sleep. So she too didn't hear. And, you know, the generator and a lot of things, noise was going on. So even the neighbors didn't hear me when I was screaming and struggling. After a while, you know, they went around the house and, you know, the things that we used to complain about, such as like my grandma, you know, of blessed memory, she used to snore so deeply. But that was my saving grace that day, because it was the snore that the people heard and they knew that somebody was at home. And so they traced it to my grandma's window and broke it. And that was when my grandma, you know, just jumped out of sleep. She was like, who's that? Thief, thief. They're like, they're not thieves, that she should come to the door to open the door. And she opened the door, she saw a mini crowd. She's like, what's going on here? And they said, who's at home with her? She mentioned my auntie's name and she mentioned my name. They said, okay, call them out. She called my auntie, there was no response. And then she said, okay, maybe my aunt had gone to the market. And they said, okay, what about Mary? And then she called me out, there was no response. I heard her though, but you know, I was weak this time. And she said, okay, maybe Mary has gone with her to the market. And they insisted, they said, no, Mary did not go with her to the market. Mary must be inside. So she kept calling and calling. I knew at this time I had to muster all the strength I had in me, you know, to just answer that call. And when I did, my grandma was upset. She's like, you know, I grew up in a very Christian home. Well, you heard me calling your name and you kept quiet. And I said, you know, that this has happened and I'm not able to see, so I cannot come out. And my mom was upset. What do you mean? My grandma was upset. What do you mean you cannot see? So the people there said, you know, just go in and check on this girl. And then she came in and saw me in my pool of blood. And, you know, she fainted. They resuscitated her. And before you knew it, we were on our way to the hospital. The closest hospital to us was General Hospital, Ikeja. And that was where I was admitted.
Me say somebody said I should see him at my mom's shop. Where? Who? I went to the shop. They called the man Papa Nepa. He is late now. When I finally got there, I asked him, where is my mother? Where is this? Where is that? I can't find anybody. He said, I should go to police station. Which police station? Alakpere police station. That is, it was at K2. Alakpere police station to go and do what? What happened? Was there a fight? What happened? What are they doing at the police station? I went. They took me to the police station. When I got to the police station, I saw my elder sister, the same color with me, locked up in the police station, in the police cell. When I said, sister, what happened? What are you doing in the cell? The lady that did the something was also there in the cell with my sister. So when I got to the police station, I saw her, the lady. Oh, I have killed Mary. Oh, I have killed Mary. I have killed Mary. They said I should go and kill Mary, and I've killed her. I said, you can't kill her. It's not possible. I went to see the DPO. My senior sister called me. Say, look at what happened. Though. I said, what happened? She said, Mary's eyes, the two eyes, has been plucked out. By who? Who did it? Who? The lady was sitting there. She said, I should go and kill Mary. I have killed her. I have killed her. She said, you cannot kill. The DPO called me. He bought apple. He gave me apple to eat. Here is the mouth to eat. Here is the teeth to eat. He said, Mommy, calm down. Take this apple and eat. I look at the apple. I dropped it. I said, where is my daughter? The DPO said, calm down. We are going to General Hospital at Ikeja to go and do what? Say, when we get to General Hospital, you will see your daughter. I will see my daughter. Of a truth, we went there to General Hospital, Children's Ward, Ward B. When we got there, in the ward, I saw her two face, the two eye, bandaged. I called her, Mary, what happened to you? She didn't say anything. I asked her, Mary, do you know who is talking to you? She said, yes. Said, this is my mommy. What happened? Her grandma was there. I looked up, I looked down. I was short of words. I don't know what to start. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to pick it from. I stood there. I was looking at her on the bed. You mean you don't have no more eyeball for you to see? When I was leaving the home in the morning, you were with your two eyes. Now what happened? What happened? Who did it? That very day I got to the hospital, I didn't even, there was no tears on my eyes. The day I wept was the day they removed the second one. Was the day they removed the second eye. I was the one that took her to the theater. I was the one that took her to the theater. When I come back from the theater, when I got to the ward, that was the day I knew that yes, something has happened to me. Something has hit me, and hit me very hard. Very, very hard. I learned my lesson in a very hard way. May 16, we were discharged from the hospital. It happened on the 28th of April, 2020. May 16, we were discharged.
When we came back home, the Reverend sister, they came to visit her. They now said, gave us address of the school, particularly school for the blind. Then after they left, I called her. Pick up your pieces. Let's start again. You don't have to remain here. It has happened. It has happened. You have to forge ahead. So, we started. We took her to Pacheli. When we took her to Pacheli, they registered her, did everything. The Reverend, she was so, the Reverend sister fell in love with her. You know, you Catholic can marry. You love anything, marry.
Yes.
So, the Reverend sister fell in love with her. She became one of the favorites in that school. So, she was there. The day I took her to Pacheli, that's another drama entirely. The rest almost drove me out of the compound because I wept my eyes. I wept. I said, what? Is this where you are coming? From St. Mary's private school to Pacheli School for the Blind? Is it where you are coming?
This is against all odds.
But at the point that you now discovered yourself and you began to take decisions, school, and all that, what was it like, you know, having to go to school and then you were quite different from every other person? What was the treatment like? And for you, how was it?
Pacheli School was a school for the blind and the partially sighted children. It was a place for rehabilitation, you know, because now I needed to learn new ways of living life. I needed to adapt. I needed to accept that this had happened to me. So that was, you know, all the processes I went through in Pacheli. And then from Pacheli, when I graduated in 2003, by God's mercies, you know, I was admitted in Loyola Jesuit College here in Abuja.
This is against all odds.
It wasn't easy. If I tell you that it's easy, it wasn't at all. It wasn't that a child that will walk on his own. You are now holding that girl. So yeah, let's go. No, it wasn't easy at all. But as time goes on, I was able to get over it. Because I don't want to sit down looking at the problem.
Yes.
I don't want to sit down thinking about it. If I sit down thinking about it, I will be affecting her. And I don't want her to be affected, not to affect her education. So I don't have to sit down, even though if I'm thinking about it, not when she's there. I don't want anything to affect her, to disturb her. Then I tell her, oh yeah, let's pick up our pieces. Let's start our life again. It's another world entirely. We have to adapt to it. So she went to Pacheli School. She came out of Pacheli School. She was favored. The American ambassador, American to Nigeria, when he was leaving the country, he gave scholarship to Pacheli School for Loyola Jesuit College. And I said, that small girl must be one of the benefactor of that beneficiary of that scholarship. He specifically mentioned Mary. Do you know what happened? When they are compiling the list, her name was omitted from the list. When they brought the list to the Reverend sister, I said, where is Mary's name? He said, no way. No way. Go and include Mary's name. So her name was included.
I am down, and when my soul's so weary, when trouble comes and my heart burning me, and I am still away here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. I was really young. I was 7 years old. I was a child. I did not understand the gravity of what had happened to me, honestly. maybe somewhere at the back of my mind, I thought every child was going to go through the same thing. It didn't register with me until I began to grow, and then little things became really significant to me. And that was when, you know, with every experience that life presents, you begin to see that there is a lapse, there's a gap. And it became more obvious to me that this has happened and this is the impact, and I won't be able to do certain things, and I couldn't be as independent as I wanted to be, you know. And I think that was when the resentments really started coming in. It wasn't in the beginning when I was a child, because then I was young and free. I didn't understand it, you know. It was just there. It was as I started growing up that I registered that this had happened to me.
Was you know, the childhood treatment, was that the reason why?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so that was what informed.
Oh yes. When I
choice.
wanted to become a lawyer, it was out of resentment. It was out of anger. As I grew up, I started experiencing many things that my mom wasn't even aware of, that made me very angry about the fact that somebody actually put me in this situation. I wasn't born this way. So I found out about the case, and I was upset that how could, you know, someone do this and not really get. I was angry, you know, I was really just angry. So I said I was going to revisit the case as a lawyer and just find out, you know, just what went on exactly. And so that was how I ventured into being a lawyer. So I came in motivated by anger. But along the way, the Lord translated that anger into passion. Now I'm an advocate for persons with disabilities.
This is Against All Odds.
And there's been no reason for you to revisit that case again?
No, there's no reason, because when I was in 300 level, we studied criminal law. And that was when I found out that insanity indeed was a defense. And because insanity is a defense in law, and her defense counsel, that's the lady who did this, pleaded insanity, she was definitely discharged and acquitted, and there was nothing that could be done again. Yeah.
Sad.
It was at that point I made my Waterloo, and then the Lord transformed that anger into passion, and, you know, I said, okay, so now that I can't do anything about this, I can do something to help other people. And that was how I made up my mind to become an advocate in the humanitarian space. And that's what I do now.
You and I must make a pact. We must bring salvation back. Where there is love, I'll be there.
I did not allow it.
What was your relationship with that woman now? What was your relationship with her?
She's my immediate junior sister. The same father, the same mother.
What lesson did you
I like
learn?
that laugh. That laugh speaks volumes.
Hey.
What lesson has life taught you? And what would you like to share with a parent out there?
I've learned a lot. Even now, when anybody calls me, where is Mary? Mary is fine. Mary is doing fine. Even when they try to get information from me about her, she's fine. She's doing fine. Because I trusted them too much. I so relaxed. And they taught me a lesson I will never forget in my life. Though I have forgiven. I have forgiven. But the lesson is there. I learned it in a very hard way. In a very hard way. What I will say is that for every other parent out there, you must take care of your child or your children. No matter who you, don't trust and don't entrust your child to anybody. Say, please, not even in this era. Not even in this era. In our own time, it was different. But now, Entirely different. Don't entrust your child to anybody. Say, please help me take care. I trust him or I trust her. Please take care of her or take care of him for me. Don't do it. Don't do it. No matter who they are. Except it's your mother. It's okay. But outside out there, outside people, apart from your own mother, even relations, you can't trust relations. Me, I'm sitting down here, I don't trust any relations. I don't. Anybody. I don't. Because I trusted them in the first place. And they dealt with me. They dealt with me seriously. And I've learned my lesson in a very hard way.
This is against all odds.
Mary, just keep doing what you know how to do best. And keep taking care of mommy. And mommy will continue to take care of you. The world is still very large. The journey is just beginning. And definitely, it's going to be rosy and bright. Because the God that stayed with you then knows why you did not die.
Exactly.
Has stayed with you till today. That God is still alive. Mommy, that your God is still alive.
Still alive.
And whatever picture you have painted for your daughter, you will see it full blown.
Amen.
This is against all odds.
Thank you for staying with us on Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. Life will always offer you what it will offer you. But what will you make out of what life offers you is very important. Know yourself, understand your strength, your ability, and put it to work. Let's do this again next week, same time, same station. My name is Toshima Pius Ikeravi.
Thank you.